Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Cardano and its native token ADA. I'll run for the record books. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. So we're just going to sort of take inventory on where we are in this run for the record books that we've been discussing for the last couple of years. And notably, nothing has changed, right? Nothing has changed. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, as we've been discussing. We are currently in some level of consolidation for the past 11 weeks, and I know this can be frustrating for people. I get it, but you have to remember that a lot of cryptocurrencies, again, even Bitcoin, they go through phases like this. And notably, with Bitcoin, it's actually been going more or less sideways since mid-February. I mean, a lot of people might look at this and say, oh, well, we're continuing to put in new all-time highs. But really, I mean, so that's true. But at the same time, this is also, just a lot of sideways movement by Bitcoin. And it actually looks somewhat similar to what Ethereum has done. Okay, I mean, these are daily candles here. So let's switch this over to the daily candles for Cardano. And you can see that it looks fairly similar. Okay, so we had a move up here, another move up, and then a third move up, and we're still just going sideways. Bitcoin's basically done the same thing, right? 3 moves up, they did go slightly higher, and then we're still just continuing to move sideways in sort of the midpoint of the channel that we've been in forever. Now, if we just discuss where we are with our bull market support band, again, to just take inventory on that, the bull market support band, which again is the 20-week estimate, the 21-week EMA, now ranges from 89 cents to 93 cents. And that's not to say that we have to hold it in the event of a correction. However, we have seen a lot of other cryptocurrencies hold this level in a bull market. And so the downside risk, assuming we hold that, has gotten a lot less. Back in February, it was a lot more. I mean, when we were at the top of this wick, we were about 80% above the 20-week SMA, which was somewhat scary because if at the time Bitcoin had a major dump or something, it would have, I think it could have looked really, really bad for altcoins in general. However, Cardano, in my opinion, has shown a ton of strength. A ton of strength here in the fact that not only did it move up about 60 to 70x over the span of 14 months or so, less than that really. It's just been going sideways for the last couple of months. But now the buying pressure has been enough to keep it there. Okay. And again, I'll use this as an opportunity to remind you, we do have the ITC stake pool. If you want to go earn interest on your ADA, go check it out, go earn interest. So let's go and look at ADA Ether because we know that it's been bleeding. And this is one of those things where I try for us to always take a step back from the market and realize sort of where we are. So when ADA is going up to these valuations against Ethereum that we've seen here, and here, we discussed the implication of that if we're able to break those local tops that we had seen for the last few years, these would be the market conditions that would allow us to do it. And in fact, they were. If you look at the top of these weekly candles, we went basically to the same level we went last time, and we only missed it in terms of the weekly, the extension, or where the weekly candle closed. We only missed it by about 6%. Okay, so what I like to do is I tend to operate under the assumption that we will not significantly outperform prior movements. I still hold a lot of my Cardano because of, not only because I think it's going to go up in terms of USD, but if you're just constantly trading it, you're going to incur a lot of taxable events, and that's certainly not fun. So we've come back down now. And notably, the valuation of ADA against Ethereum has bled by about 60% or so. This is a pretty significant bleed. Now, the nice thing, the consolation prize for us who hold ADA, the consolation prize is at least it hasn't fallen on an ADA USD capitulation. It has fallen because Ether USD has just been shooting upwards. Okay, and again, this is why I also hold Ethereum. Okay, this is why I have a portfolio that has all of these coins that we're talking about here. So, we look at the ADA Ether valuation and realize that in order for ADA to get back up to, say, these local highs we had before, it would need to move up by approximately 34%. To go up to these levels, you'd be looking at, maybe 100% or more than 100%. Well, I do want to say that, we do not always have to go back to the green band every time we come down. I mean, here's a great example of us putting in this high up here. We came down to the yellow. We actually just had a wick down into the yellow. We came back up to the red, back down to the yellow area, back up to the red. We've only actually been down to this green region, a few times. Okay, and so I would not necessarily assume that we have to go to that region by any means. If we did, it would probably represent a pretty great opportunity. And so that, that's sort of what I want to talk about, is the idea of, if ADA doesn't start showing strength in the next couple of weeks or so, there's a decent chance that this keeps falling. And if it does, I think that will then represent a key opportunity in the market, maybe an upcoming momentum shift, depending on how far it drops with respect to Ethereum. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what happens in my opinion, because I still have my ADA and I'm still going to hold it. But if it were to come back down to these levels, it could present a very nice opportunity in the event that were to happen. And if you go look at the ADA Bitcoin valuation, it's somewhat subtle, but it is slowly moving up. I mean, look at this over the last couple months. So if we look at, say, the price range here, the last month and a half or so, if we look at a price move, ADA's up about 37% in its Bitcoin value. Okay, so it is showing strength. The reason you might not feel like it is because ADA USD has been trending sideways. But in fact, it's showing strength against Bitcoin, and the reason it's going up is because ADA USD is going sideways, and then Bitcoin, we know, has more or less just been trending down for a little while. I mean, we have had this bounce here that started in late April, but more or less, we can see that Bitcoin's valuation against ADA is actually down about 11% since over the last month or so. So I think there's a lot of reasons to be still macro bullish on ADA. Yeah, I mean, if Bitcoin corrects, then we know altcoins are going to correct. But these are the risks we play, or these are the risks we take. We know these risks, of course, and it doesn't really change where I think we're hopefully headed later on in the market cycle. There were a few concerns I wanted to address. One was, some people have discussed, well, if ADA is going to a valuation of somewhere between $5 to $10, doesn't that get it too close to Ethereum's market capitalization? So the implication of ADA going to those valuations would be a much higher Ethereum. Okay, so if you were to show me a snapshot of the top 10, and I saw Cardano had, say, a market cap of, say, 200 billion or something, I would assume that Ethereum would be much higher than where it currently is. Okay, I mean, at that point, Ethereum's valuation could be approaching 700 billion or 800 billion or maybe $1 trillion. So the idea that a coin can't go to a certain market capitalization because there's another coin that we expect to stay ahead of it is currently around that market capitalization. You have to remember that we're expecting that coin to move as well. To put it another way, back in March, Bitcoin's market capitalization was it was less than 100 billion back in March of 2020, and now Ethereum's market capitalization is more than double what Bitcoin's was back then. So it shows you how the times can change through a bull market, because the milestone that you're comparing to is constantly changing, because we know that the Bitcoin's valuation is constantly changing, Ethereum's valuation is constantly changing, etc. If you guys like the content, make sure you check out the premium list bull market sale. Make sure you guys lock in the low rate. Check that out in the description below if you want access to exclusive content and how I'm navigating these markets. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel in the description below. Remember to click that bell icon to turn on your notifications. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see if this run for the record books by Cardano continues. Remember, so far it's just up and sideways, and sometimes we go down, but it's still a pretty nice move. And I can tell you, I've seen a lot of market cycle tops. To me, this does not look like a market cycle top. I mean, I'm not saying we can't go down and maybe test the 20-week before going higher, or maybe we just go higher right away. But to me, this is not, by any means, it does not look like a market cycle top. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next time. Bye.